You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast, and I'm Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, considering getting on the mats, or maybe you're taking your best self to train. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When your ambition is to continue to refine your game for life, start or continue training Jiu-Jitsu, I'd like to welcome Professor Salvo to my podcast. Hi Salvo, how are you?
Hi Lou, how are you?
Fantastic, thank you. I'm always fantastic when I'm recording a podcast episode. It brings me so much joy and warmth to connect with others, especially my own professor. So thank you for joining me. We spoke a year ago. Obviously, we've spoken in between, and I've attended a number of seminars as well as classes with you. But tell me what has been going on for you in 2024, and I will ask you about 2025 later.
Wow, I can't believe it's been a year already, Lou, that we last did this. So, what's been going on with me? So, lots of development, self-development on and off the mats. And, just continuing to strive for better jiu-jitsu. Better jiu-jitsu for myself, better jiu-jitsu for my students, and better jiu-jitsu for the greater community. This is what I've been up to.
Fantastic.
I've traveled a lot.
I've seen.
Yeah, I was, since we last spoke, I did seminars in Italy, America, Thailand. I've been around a little bit lately.
Good. I love hearing you as a professor, obviously, traveling around the world, sharing your joy, the kind of playfulness with jiu-jitsu, which we mentioned last time. And I just want to touch on that, seeing I've mentioned it. One of the main things for me that struck me in our last conversation was your comment around playing jiu-jitsu, don't fight jiu-jitsu. And actually that really did resonate with me and a number of my listeners and people that watch the show. It's kind of released some kind of the weight and the heaviness of learning jiu-jitsu. And it's just kind of made me feel a lot more relaxed about learning. I'm not necessarily a serious person generally. So it was really great to be reinforced and kind of, given that extra piece of knowledge to play jiu-jitsu. Where does that play jiu-jitsu kind of come from in your understanding and growth throughout the number of years that you've been training?
So just to put things into perspective, I've been a black belt for 15 years, and I've trained and I've competed all over the world, and I trained with some of the most incredible jiu-jitsu players on the planet. And sometimes you cannot fight those guys.
Yeah.
So, I'll give you an example. If I'm going to try and fight Professor Romulo Barra, who we have sparred on several occasions, it's going to be a very tough day for me. Professor Romulo has incredible jiu-jitsu. He's a multiple-time world champion, ADCC champion. And, he's a little younger than me too. So trying to fight head-on doesn't really benefit me too much, and it's probably not going to benefit him very much either. Whereas being able to keep the training playful allows you to feel so much more, see much more, and understand much more about yourself, your body, and the things that are coming towards you, and what you can give back in response to those things that come towards you.
Yeah. I love that. And you can imagine that the fight versus fight, you're just going to be stubborn. And I took myself and the kids off to Barcelona, and whilst I'm still finding that fire, Salvo, but it was a fight against my opponent, we were both really stubborn, and nothing happened and nothing
Yeah.
moved. And actually taking some of that, kind of playfulness, or maybe that would have enhanced my experience and, progressed me a bit further. I can see how it would benefit my game.
I think competition is a little different, Lou. I think
Yeah.
competition, two people are there and two people have come to win. So nobody wants to give an inch. Everybody's trying their hardest. And sometimes, there has to be a little bit of give one way or the other in order to
Yeah.
open up the game. So, I'll put that into perspective. If I'm trying desperately to take somebody down and I can't, I do have the option of pulling guard. If there's been a stalemate of, 8 minutes, I only have 2 minutes left, so to speak. So I do have the option of pulling guard
Yeah.
and trying to open up the game. I get it. There are some risks towards that, but there could also be some rewards. So,
Yeah.
it's a matter of mentality, isn't it?
It's all about growth, all about growth.
All about growth, absolutely.
So it's been a fantastic 2024, and you're looking forward to the future. What I don't normally ask this question so early on in the episode, but the intonation is kind of coming up for me. What is happening for you in 2025?
Wow. So many things, Lou, many things. Let me start by telling you how excited we are right now, because first things first, we are doing a renovation job on Gracie Barra Polton, and we are fitting new mats, top of the range mats. We have some new professors coming in as well to be teaching at Gracie Barra Polton. So we're really, really excited about the expansion of that academy. Not only that, then we have, of course, the new year always brings a lot of new faces. So
Yeah.
we're very excited about that too. And very early on in February, in fact, February the 12th, I will be in Brazil, Florianopolis, at Gracie Barra headquarters, teaching together with many other great professors the winter camp, the GB Experience winter camp. And the people teaching at that winter camp are going to be myself, Professor Carlos Lemos Jr., Romulo Bajau, Professor Marcos Barros, Master Carlos Gracie Jr., Professor Draculino, Professor Rodrigo Mendaña, Professor Fran. So many amazing professors are going to be there all together on the mats, not only enjoying Jiu-Jitsu, but enjoying the Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle the way that it was, shall I say, created by Master Carlos? Yeah, let's say it. Why not? If he can't say it, who can claim that, right? So the Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle that Master Carlos taught so many of us, we're literally gonna be there experiencing that.
Amazing. And it's always good to kind of travel. In 2024, I made my way around a number of Gracie Barra academies in the UK, and they all had something wonderful to say about you, Salvo, which is always really nice to hear.
Positive.
Yeah, but for me, it's about I guess learning and experiencing training with other individuals, whether male or female, and just having that experience. But what it gave me was that reconfirmation that, wherever you go to a Gracie Barra in the UK or maybe even around the world, that there's that same community, that same warmth and kind of welcoming, and acceptance as well. And I think a number of us are really searching to be accepted in life in general. And we turned to training jiu-jitsu in the first place. At least one of the reasons why we start training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, this really resonates with me, Lou, because I've traveled a fair bit, and my professor being one of the main representatives of Gracie Barra directly under Master Carlos Gracie. Professor Carlos Lemos literally grew up with Master Carlos Gracie in Barra de Tijuca. So I've been super blessed that wherever I have gone as Professor Carlos' student, the doors have always been open and everybody's always been super, super welcoming to me.
Mm.
So if you can only have a small percentage of that, I think it's going to be super positive and you're going to enjoy it. A lot of
Yeah.
traveling and a lot of good times in many academies, you know, because
Yeah.
Gracie Barra, as you say, you know, it's not just in the UK, it's all over the world.
Yeah.
And with it being all over the world, this is what makes it special, makes it
Yes.
different. You know,
Yeah.
you can go to Sicily and there'll be a Gracie Barra Agrigento, which is happens to be one of my students, but you're going to have a great experience. But you can go to California and
Yeah.
have equally the same experience, you know, or
Yeah.
Japan and have equally the same experience. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of our community.
Yeah. But for me, it resonates with working in the kind of corporate world in my 20s, that actually, whatever site around the world that I visited, it was exactly the same. I knew what I was kind of letting myself in for. And now in my kind of later kind of 40s, um, you know, taking part in a hobby and something social, that that connection and the support is there on that front, where I might not have found that, certainly kind of in my dancing years. Everything felt very different, going to different locations around the UK. But yeah, I feel very honoured to be part of Gracie Barra, and you know,
That's
in
great.
the mix of everybody.
I think the familiarity as well, you know, the familiarity of and the feel of
Yeah.
the environment around you, and you know, the common
Mm.
education that I believe the professor and the coaches receive,
Yeah.
I think, you know, makes a big difference, if I have to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
Yeah, certainly, it's changed from my early days walking into a Gracie Barra location and having that fear and going, I don't know what to expect, doing my very first warm up, going, what
Yeah.
is going on? Shrimp? What do I need to do?
What is this? Yeah, what is this?
uh,
I think it's a matter of balance, right?
yeah,
You know, you can go to any school around the world, and they could be super tough competitors,
yeah,
and that's great. That's really good, but it leaves out a very big percentage of human beings who want to train jujitsu for
yeah,
physical health, for mental health, for any other aspect than competition.
yeah,
And you know, I believe in that balance. And then you can go to my school. I'll put my school on the line, okay? Gracie Barra Bath. Gracie Barra Bath, you can walk in and you can come to a GB1 class and everything is beautiful, really nice, really soft. Everybody gets to learn and interact with one another.
yeah,
And we are learning in a nice, safe, healthy environment. Or you could come to the competition class. Now, when you come to the competition class, everything changes. It's a whole completely different academy. You know, we do have world class athletes.
yeah,
We do have guys who are winning medals
mm,
across every competition across the world,
yeah,
from Gracie Bath. And those guys are bred through the GB1 program,
yeah,
or often through the children's program, into the GB1 program, and then into the advanced, and then through to competition classes.
yeah,
So I think it's put in the academy, put in the schedule of the academy to serve its purpose
yeah,
amongst our practitioners. That's what it's about. So, you know, I'm not going to have a young lady who's just started jujitsu and 18 years old, 19 years old
yeah,
together training at the competition class. That
yeah,
doesn't work.
yeah.
So she gets, you know, nurtured in order to get to that point.
Now, I have been in one of your competition classes, Salvo, having transitioned from GB1 and a little bit of GB2 because of my schedule. It was an incredibly hard workout. It was very invigorating and very rewarding at the end. Just, the amount of kind of steam and sweat and energy and all of those things was kind of incredible, but it was incredibly worthwhile. But if someone's wanting to transition from GB1, whilst there's GB2 before maybe a competition class or as well as, what would you suggest to help maybe some of us females that are wanting to do more? What do we do in between to support our own game? And maybe, I don't know, I'm kind of going down the strength and conditioning route, and just kind of lifestyle that will get us to be more competitive in that sense.
So I truly believe in, you know, I truly believe in jujitsu. And if you are training jujitsu, I believe jujitsu is what you should be doing more of.
Yeah.
I love strength and conditioning. I go to the gym all the time. I like
Yeah.
lifting. I like doing circuits. I love all of these things. But none of those things can replace my knowledge gathering of jujitsu.
Yeah.
I must gather knowledge, download information of jujitsu. And it would be like saying, okay, at white belt, blue belt, saying, okay, I'm going to learn jujitsu or I'm going to learn how to swim, but I'm going to go running.
Yeah.
You know, in order to
Okay.
learn how to swim, you have to be in the water. There's no other way about this. And in order to learn how to do jujitsu, you
Yeah.
must be on the mat. There's no other way about that either. You know,
Okay.
so in order to begin to prepare the student for, let's say, a higher level of training,
Yeah.
then comes positional sparring. You know, positional sparring saying, okay, you're side mounted, you have one job and one job only, regain your guard.
Yeah.
Now, it starts off being a very uncomfortable position. It starts off being a position that perhaps you hate, but eventually it becomes just a normal position, another position,
Yeah.
you know? And the same thing goes for mount and having your back taken and every other position of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But the only way to improve on jiu-jitsu is definitely by doing jiu-jitsu.
I
We can
like
do
that
all sorts of
response.
things, Lee. We can do all
Yes.
sorts of things which are healthy and
Yeah.
that will definitely benefit us. We can go
Yeah.
walking, hiking in the countryside. We have a lot of beautiful countryside here.
Yeah.
We can do anything, swim, yoga. They
Yeah.
are all great activities, but nothing will get you better prepared for jujitsu than jujitsu.
I love that. I'm going to take that one away, Salvo. Thank you. This is a Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. Go and check out the latest video clips over on jiu.jitsu.lu on Instagram. And as you're listening or watching on your favourite podcast platform, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Today, I'm having a conversation with Professor Salvo from Gracie Barra Bath. Salvo, now I know you've recently turned 50. I want to talk a bit about, congratulations on that one. It's out of the bag now. You don't look 50, it's fine.
Oh,
Okay. Those of us that are in our 40s and maybe 50s, maybe even older, and wanting to start training jiu-jitsu, or even continue training jiu-jitsu, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, how does your kind of coaching kind of style support those older hobbyists or even competitors in your schools?
so I believe the fastest route to improvement for any athlete or recreational person that trains
Mm,
is through playing jujitsu
yeah,
rather than through fighting jujitsu. And I think we may have touched on this before,
yeah,
but if you remember, one of the things that I would have said to you would be that when you have two people of pretty much the same level, they're gonna go in the middle, two blue belts, two white belts, and they're gonna lock onto each other's gi, and not a lot is gonna happen for the next 6 minutes
yeah,
because nobody is willing to give anything or make a mistake because of the mindset that they're using in these terms of training.
Mm.
If you have, on the other hand, two practitioners who they don't care about the outcome. What they care about is the experience.
Yeah.
The experience of having fun, the experience of literally rolling. The term rolling comes from rolling around, having fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be called fighting, right? But it's called rolling. And, I personally have some amazing training partners that I have some great roles with. One of my best training partners is Professor Marcos Barros. We don't get to see each other all the time. We don't get these days to spend lots and lots of time together, but we still see each other 3 times a year, 4 times a year. And whenever we do see each other, we do try to train. Professor Marcos is very, very technical, very, very strong, very, very smart in terms of his jiu-jitsu, and he's a 5th-degree black belt. So for me to train with Professor Marcos and to have that exchange is one of the greatest opportunities for me to download information.
Yeah.
Right? Can you picture you just plug in your little key and you're downloading a bunch of information? It's the same. It's not different. But if, on the other hand, we both went in to smash each other, none of us would be learning that much from each other. You know?
One of the things that comes up is the kind of fear, I guess, as a 40-something, if you go onto the mats and you're worried about all the things, then for me, my mindset is all of those terrible things will happen. But actually approaching it with a really positive mindset feels quite healthy. It keeps me safe, at least from a mental health perspective, but also equally the physical health. A number of us, almost all of us, have responsibilities to one degree or another, whether we've got to drive the kids home or, take them to places, or we've got, home responsibilities or caring for parents or, whatever it happens to be. We've all got to be somewhere else after training jiu-jitsu. And I think that's the kind of, whilst we're on the mats focusing in the present moment, we've got a bigger picture of life on the outside of that. How do you think that kind of reflects throughout individuals training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
I think it's a type of culture that first of all needs to be cultivated on the mat.
Yeah.
From the top downwards, that type of culture should be cultivated on the mat. And then that type of culture should be nourished among students. And then you can take that playful culture from the mat to day-to-day life. Because look, let's face it, day-to-day life, we all have challenges. We all have life situations. We all have to pay the mortgage. We all have to, feed the children. We all have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
But if we can do all of those things and do them in a playful way, a happy way, a way where we're not stressed, a way where we're not thinking that the glass is half empty, but it's half full, I think life's a little more pleasant for all of us,
Yes.
I've touching on turning 50. For the best part of my life, I've always lived a very stress-free life, right? For many, many years. And I see my friends, my other family members who have several businesses, and I see many people becoming super stressed.
Yeah.
And guess what? I nearly fell into that too. I nearly fell into that.
Yeah.
And I say nearly because I refuse to fall into that. So I rather take a step back, regroup, and move forward again. Because I don't do jiu-jitsu to be stressed. I do jiu-jitsu to be happy. I do jiu-jitsu to be loving life every day of the week. And not only loving life every day of the week, loving what jiu-jitsu does for others. I've seen jiu-jitsu transform people's lives firsthand. I've been there. I've watched it. I've seen it. I've enjoyed the outcome. I don't want it to be any other way,
Yeah.
you know?
Thank you for sharing that, because I think, that makes me feel good about continuing training jiu-jitsu along with other things. But I love observing both yourself and Professor Fran and others coaching the kids class. And whilst lots of things the kids take away and understand, um, for me, it's I kind of take away for myself keeping your training partner safe. And
Yeah.
that for me cascades into the adult classes because I'm kind of immersed in it. And it's so important that the children look after each other, but equally as important that the adults look after each other as well. So I've also taken that piece of joy from your classes.
So you know, Lou, what the funny thing is? The funny thing is that for a lot of the children that train at the academy, their parents train too.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to the kids group or I'm teaching the kids group, often the parents are there on the side and they watch not only the technique, the explanation, everything else that goes into it. And then I ask the children, who's the most important person on the mat? And they all say, your training partner, right?
Yep.
You've heard that, you've witnessed
Yep.
that. Now, although the parent wasn't involved in that particular class, just like yourself, the
Yeah.
parent remembers it.
Yep.
And then the parent starts thinking, okay, this is maybe something that we should be doing ourselves. Because I believe it's really important. I don't think that I've ever hurt a training partner. Now, that's a very bold claim, right? Because I've been training for many, many years and I've been a black belt for
Yeah.
many, many years, but I don't actually remember hurting a training partner. Have I
Yeah.
submitted many? A lot. Have I tapped myself too? Yes, for sure. I've tapped as well, plenty.
Yeah.
But I don't remember hurting anybody along the
Yeah.
way. For me, it's a failure, right? If I take your gi and your gi is over your face and I'm cranking your jaw and your teeth with your lapel and I
Mm.
make you tap, I believe I failed. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
My submission has to be super clean, has to
Mm.
be correctly under the jawline.
Yeah.
Therefore, I feel like, yeah, this was a clean submission. Doesn't mean I don't want to submit people. I will try to submit everybody I roll with. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But, but uh, not at the expense of anybody being injured.
Yeah. That's good. I appreciate that. We haven't rolled Salvo. I am praying for the day that I don't have to. Um,
We will
no.
soon. Now that you mention it, we will soon.
Okay.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Let's talk about submissions. You mentioned there about having a clean submission.
Yeah.
Talk me through some of that mindset and strategy that you use, just so I can unpick your game for when we do roll.
Sure, sure. Prepare yourself. So here's the thing, right? I believe in a complete jujitsu system. I believe in good takedowns. I believe in good guard. I believe in good
Yeah,
guard passing, footlocks, everything. I believe in
yeah,
all of it. We practice all of it at Gracie Barra.
yeah,
We don't leave any stone unturned. With that being said, there has to be an element of trust between training partners. So, although I or some of my students might be better versed at, let's say, footlocks, let's take it on footlocks. When they encounter the person who has less experience on the footlocks, they must be the ones who are prepared to look after the guy or girl.
yeah,
Because if I slap a footlock on somebody and the person doesn't know how to defend properly, he
yeah,
or she will hurt themselves. So now it's my responsibility as, let's say, the higher belt to make sure that person, A, I am prepared to let go even if they don't tap.
yeah,
Because what does it really mean if I tap my training
yeah,
partner and he has to squeal for me to let him go, or I tap and say, "Hey, it's okay. I'd rather let go than hurt your foot."
Yeah.
You know, because I've seen this happen too many times over the years.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that I like to train like that, and one of the reasons why I think then keeping it playful allows us to become far more technical.
Yeah.
You know, and if we flip the coin and I don't know, somebody takes my back, somebody has the gi going over my nose, or no gi, their forearm going over my nose,
Yeah.
right? I rather, I'd rather not have my nose broken
Yeah.
in training because many of you, many of you have to wake up tomorrow morning, get
Yeah.
your kids ready for school, drive them to school, and then go to work.
Yeah.
What fun would jiu-jitsu be
Mm.
if it stopped you doing all the other things you needed to do?
Yeah.
So I believe in the mentality of training hard, training
Yeah.
well, but training safe.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yes.
Um, Salvo, I just have another question that's come up for me about some tips for competition. I would love to compete again, and I would love to hear some, I don't know, some mindset stuff. Maybe not techniques, unless I'm working on my chokes at the moment, and maybe some arm bars as well. But in terms of mindset and finding the right energy, the right space to go into competition confidently with almost a success mindset.
Yeah. So I think first of all, you're a blue belt today, so you qualify for all the advanced classes, you qualify for competition classes, and I think that's where you're going to find the tougher jujitsu that's going to take you to the next level,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying that the beginners program is not good. It is excellent. It is exactly what we need
Yeah.
at the very beginning. And sometimes it is exactly what we need to come back to
Mm.
in order to solidify one's fundamentals of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because look, the greatest jiu-jitsu players in the world all have one thing in common: super solid fundamentals. That if you do
Yeah.
pass their guard, they're going to be okay. They can recover. If you do take their back, that's fine. They're going to recover too. Everything's going to be fine because they have super solid fundamentals. Now, in regards to preparing for a
Mm.
competition class, look,
Yeah.
you'll come in, you'll do your warm up, you'll do your stretching, you'll do a lot of positional sparring, which starts to break down those barriers of those awful positions,
Yeah.
right? Oh my God, I've been mounted. We're all going to get mounted at some point. It just depends on how do you look at being mounted.
Yeah.
Now, if you're only mounted once a year, twice a year in jiu-jitsu sparring, so to speak, it's actually going to be quite traumatic when you do get mounted.
Yeah.
But if you come to competition class and actually we might dedicate 2 whole 6-minute rounds on being mounted and the person escaping, well, it's going to be tough the first week.
Yeah.
It might be tough the second week and the third week.
Yeah.
But eventually, it'll just become another position that you deal with.
Yeah.
And therefore, you find that there's a Hicks on Gracie quote. What's his new book called? Light in the Darkness, or Comfort in Darkness. That's what his new book is called, I believe. But you
Yeah.
find that comfort under the most extreme stress.
Yeah.
Because you're stressed, you're mounted, you're about to get submitted, you're carrying that person's weight, it doesn't feel good, you can't breathe, they're sweaty, you're sweaty. But you can find balance and
Yeah.
comfort there to in a smart way, dissect your position to escape.
Yeah.
You'll find that anywhere. You'll find that mindset will transcend to anything you do.
Cool.
So,
I think that's all incredibly valid, and it again reinforces the mindset of to get better at jiu-jitsu, just keep training more jiu-jitsu in all the different ways that you possibly can.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
That's good. So 2025, you've got some kind of progress. You've got the winter camp in Brazil. You've got Gracie Barra Poulton being renovated. What does the kind of rest of 2025 look like in terms of your personal growth, the kind of wider family and community for Jiu-Jitsu?
2025 for Professor Salvo looks like this. A lot of fun, I hope. A lot of great times with great people, I hope. A
Yep.
lot of mat time, I hope.
Yeah.
Because when I put all of those things together, this is what Gracie Barra means to me. Community, fun, enjoyment, evolution. You know, going to the camp in Brazil, yeah, sure, I'm one of the teachers, but I'm going to learn so much. I'm amongst giants. How can I not learn, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be teaching my little part of things, but I'll be learning a lot and I'll be developing a lot. Now, putting into the fun and travel and all the rest of the amazing things, in May, we have the Gracie Barra World Summit. That's going to be taking place in Portugal. I plan to be there too. You know, as one of the main contributors of Gracie Barra in Europe, I really plan to be there, and I really plan to be amongst so many of my peers. And I want to live life in the best possible, most enjoyable, healthy, spectacular way, within simplicity. Because it is not, it's not a fancy pair of shoes or a fancy car or, a good watch that is going to make the difference of how you live your life.
Yeah.
How you live your life is how you feel inside.
Yeah.
How you feel when you're around the people that you like and love, and how you feel when you're on or off the mats.
Again, I agree. I think everything that you've had to share is, kind of mindfully kind of taking on board, but it just resonates with, those of us that are like-minded and want the best for ourselves as well as other people within Jiu-Jitsu. Salvo, thank you so much for joining me again. I will be seeing you in class soon, avoiding that role. But thank you.
It's been a pleasure, Lou, and we'll do it again in a year, right?
Absolutely.
I'll let you know what happens in 2026. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Lou. It's been absolutely great.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for telling your friends about this show. And as soon as this episode ends, I'd really appreciate you dropping the show a rating and a review. Thank you again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast.